Hello there, my name's Kaitlin Ferguson and I'm an environmental artist that's based in the east of England, and I have created a series of videos which are called Art in the Fens in collaboration with Marketplace. These videos are kind of exploring my love of the fen and landscape, and they're also offering a set of art activities which you can do at home as well, on walks, or whether you're inspired by different aspects of this really special region. So this is the fourth video in our series, and today we're going to be looking at geology of the Fens. And geology is one of my favourite subjects, and it inspires quite a lot of my artwork, as you would have seen from the first video in our series. And the Fens actually have it's quite a subtle geology, but it is really interesting and houses some really amazing kind of fossils, but also different layers of strata that really inspire what I do. So what I'm going to do is talk to you a little bit more about the geology of the Fens, and then I'm going to show you an art activity which is going to involve textiles this week to create at home inspired by it. So when we kind of look at geology, it's important that we kind of expand the timescales that we're used to thinking about. So we're actually going to think more in deep time, which, as I spoke about in the first video, is about kind of thinking in terms of a planetary timescale and millions and billions of years that have taken to form the landscapes that we live in now. And so the Fens themselves are very low-lying compared to the chalk and limestone kind of regions that surround them. And a lot of the Fens is at sea level, and it's also kind of at most up to sort of 10 metres above sea level. So with that really comes the sort of continuous feeling of, I know that when I'm on walks in the Fens, I often think about the presence of the sea. And the sea would have covered the region before there was the great drainage systems put in place. And there's also the sort of feeling of the sea when we think about the potential threat of climate change and sea level rise. And like I say, the region's geology is really subtle, but a lot of it is quite undulating. So there is actually kind of a range in topography, and that's thanks to the Oxford clay. And the Oxford clay is really important because it's a place where that has the reason that we have Peterborough's historic brickworks, but it's also a really rich material full of fossils from the Jurassic period. And so when we kind of think about geology from this region, it's helpful for us to kind of divide it into two sections. So we can think about the superficial material, which is at the top, and the bedrock, which is underneath. So the superficial deposits in our region of the Fens, they have been deposited between a few thousand years ago, as far back as kind of 2.5 million years ago. And a lot of them kind of come from the Ice Age, and they include peats, silts, river terrace gravels, and glacial deposits, which are known as glacial tills. And underneath that is the bedrock. And the bedrock in the Fens is predominantly relatively hard, and it is made up of limestones and sandstone. But there's also parts of it that are quite soft, and that's the Oxford clay that I mentioned, and Kimmeridge clay as well. So underlying the Fens, there are, like I say, layers of Jurassic and Cretaceous materials, or from those time periods, and that is periods that kind of remind us of the dinosaurs, and it's those periods that have left us with some amazing fossils. And the Peterborough Museum and also the Cedric Museum of Earth Sciences house some amazing fossils from this region. So there's plenty of kind of large marine reptiles, such as like ichthyosaurs and pliosaurs as well. But there's also plenty of ammonites and belemnites as well found in this region. And this is an image of some Oxford clay, and you can see it housing lots of really exciting fossils. So another source, if you are interested in geology of this region, the Cambridgeshire Geological Society have got a fantastic set of trails that you can do, and it's called the Fen Edge Trail, and it takes you from the Lincolnshire border in the northwest of the county to the Suffolk border in the southeast, using following the 5-metre contour line. So they are a set of walks which you can download, and this line followed actually originally where 3,000 years ago there would have been the edge of edge of the sea coming in across the fens. So really kind of encourage you to check that out. Okay, so today we are going to have a go at using textiles to create inspired by geology. During lockdown, I've started a series called Soft Strata, and I hadn't really been doing any textiles or sewn work before this, but I really kind of started to think about the idea of layers of geology and the idea of recreating them in textiles, and this idea of playing with the materiality of it. So this idea of soft material representing kind of hard layers of rocks. So here's a couple of images of some of the soft strata that I've done, and these are taken from or inspired by images of boreholes, which are sections of slices of ground that's taken, so you can see the layers of strata, and then I recreate them using textiles. So I'm going to sign off for now, and next up I'm going to show you how to make your own soft strata inspired by Fenland geology. So for creating your own soft strata, you only need a few materials. I've got a few bits, different colours of felt which I've bought, but you could use different scrap materials that you've got around the house. I also encourage you to use any spare bits of sort of textile waste that you've got. It's great for recycling, and also they're really good for adding different layers to your strata as well to give it a more sort of 3D feeling. You'll need a few different colours of thread, a needle, and a few pins for tacking it in place. Okay, so first things first, just to clear my desk. It's great to perhaps print out a picture or have a picture on the screen of the particular geology that you want to focus on, and that works as a really great reference. So using this picture I've got here, you can see we've got peat, clays and gravels from a sort of drainage basin that's been cut in the fens, and I use these to cut some of the felts in different layers, kind of inspired by these lines. What I've done is I've kind of laid them on top of each other, and then I've, using a pin, tacked them in place, and I've added these smaller bits of details just to give it a little bit more depth. So as you can see, they're layered on top of one another, but you could play about with which layer you put on top of which layer, and however you want to compose it. So next up, really, it's really simple. What you're going to go ahead and do is sew in the different kind of layers in place so they're nice and secure. And then after that, we're going to have a go at doing a few more details. So I am going to speed things up to show you what that looks like. Okay, so once you've finished sewing your background layer, it's about adding detail. So here's one that I've done earlier, and you can see that there's a variety of sort of different stitches, different patterns that I've created. And the thing is, you don't have to be technically great at sewing. I think about it more as when I'm sewing that I'm drawing just on textiles. So you can be really quite creative, and I mean, here's some that I've done earlier as well, some from previous works, and I kind of really think about it as if I was drawing what would be the different marks that I could create and the different sort of lines and shapes. And you don't even need to stick exactly to the photograph, you can almost do it quite abstract as well and kind of incorporate different colours. So you can really be creative at this stage and take your soft strata sewn textiles in any direction you like, really. But I'll do another speeded up video of me adding detail before I finish off. Enjoyed today's activity. We would really love to see what you get up to while you're doing these activities. So we've got a hashtag, which is hashtag Art in the Fens. So please post some pictures of your soft strata that you've done, or perhaps you could post some pictures of some geology that you've seen and that you've enjoyed from the walks on the Fens. I hope you've enjoyed our video series, and I encourage you to check out the other ones in the series if you haven't already. And each video comes with a downloadable PDF set of instructions that you can use and share as well. Okay, so thanks so much. Bye.